As we learn more about President Trump's plans for his second term and immigration policy in particular, we want to bring in Chad Wolf, the former acting secretary of the Department of Homeland Security and the executive director of America First Policy Institute. Secretary Wolf, we thank you so much for joining us tonight. What can you tell us about your conversations with the Trump transition team and your possible role in the incoming administration?
Well, I'm certainly not going to get ahead of the president. Look, I think the transition team's taken a look at a variety of different things that the president has talked about over these last several months and how to get that border back under control, how to stop the dangerous policy of catch and release, how to stop the influx of individuals coming across that border illegally, and then, of course, how to remove individuals that don't have a legal right to be here in the United States. So I think they're probably taking a pretty comprehensive view of everything that needs to be done and starting to chart that out.
We've heard a lot about the incoming administration's plans for mass deportations and using the military and National Guard to carry them out. Let's get into specifics here. What would that look like?
Yeah, I think it's important to remember that, you know, there's an arm of the Department of Homeland Security that removes individuals every single day of every single week, or at least they should. And we know that deportations have been dramatically down during the last 4 years. But this is a mission that Congress has given the department. And so what you're talking about when you're talking about a deportation operation, it's not a snapshot in time. It's not 1 day or 1 week or 1 month, but it's a growing set of removals over a period of time that end up being more and more as you continue. So you're going to start with priorities. You're going to start removing criminal aliens and other national security threats from communities around the country. And it's not just a couple hundred or a couple thousand that are in the United States. We're talking about 600,000-700,000 or more of these individuals that are in the United States now. And there's other population sets like individuals with final orders of removal that need to be removed as well. And so that's the focus. That's what President Trump has talked about and others have talked about as well.
The economy, of course, loomed large for voters in electing Donald Trump. Does the government have the resources to undertake Trump's mass deportation plans? How much do you anticipate the cost of that program would be? I've seen estimates in the hundreds of billions of dollars.
Well, they're certainly going to need to scale up. Obviously, again, they do this on a smaller scale now. The department has the resources, they have the expertise, and they have the ability, and they repatriate or remove individuals, as I said, every week and every month now. But of course, that's going to be needed to be scaled up given the problem and the situation, the crisis over these last 4 years. Now, you talk about money. You know, we have spent billions of dollars, not only the federal government, but local jurisdictions like New York City in facilitating illegal aliens coming in over the last 4 years, housing them, busing them, flying them around the country, giving them gift cards. And so you repurpose some of that funding to actually making communities safer by removing these dangerous criminals out of those communities. So it's not only a public safety issue, it's a national security issue as well. And I think most Americans, as we saw a couple of weeks ago, want to see this process unfold. They want to get those criminal aliens out of their communities.
Incoming border czar Tom Homan says family separation needs to be considered. And you yourself worked on the zero tolerance policy that separated thousands of parents and children. Do you agree with continuing the family separation policy?
Well, I don't know that anyone is advocating for what you just said. I think President Trump's been very clear, and he was very clear back in 2018 where he signed an executive order to say that keeping families together is the priority there. But I think what's important and what this administration has done is they've exempted whole classes of individuals that said, if you're this or if you're that, you're never going to be removed. And once you do that, you end up causing the crisis that we have today. So you shouldn't exempt anyone from the law. We don't do that here domestically on U.S. law. You shouldn't do it. It's a bad precedent to set. But there certainly should be priorities. And again, as I indicated, you've seen President Trump, you've seen Tom Homan talk about prioritizing those removals, making sure you're going after the worst of the worst in American communities. And I think that's what they'll focus on.
And you talked earlier about that the priority as far as deporting illegal immigrants would start with criminals. What would happen after that? Is this you're going door to door, knocking on doors and telling people they have to leave, or how would that look?
No, again, that's just not how ICE operates. I think that there's a misconceived notion of somehow they go around knocking on doors and kicking in doors. That's not how the process works, right? They have targets. and they're usually criminal targets. Again, you're talking about removing upwards to 800,000 folks, and that's well above anything that any other administration has done. And that's before you get to other population sets. Again, 1.5 million orders of removal. These are folks that have gotten an order from a judge that says you don't have a legal right to be here in the United States, and they've chosen to stay here regardless. They are also candidates to be removed as well. And so, look, you're talking about well over 2 million folks there, maybe 2.5 million. Again, that's a good start, and I think they'll continue to do that. And you still got to continue to look at folks that are coming in across that border each and every day as well.
Really appreciate your time, Secretary Wolf. Thank you so much.
Thank you.